Okay, hello and welcome to Success Tips Global. Today is Saturday, September the 10th, 2022 in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, where my guest is based, and Sunday, September the 11th, 2022 in Japan's Science City, Tsukuba, where I'm speaking from. I'm going to be speaking with an old friend from Canada to see what we can glean from his life and some of his passions, which include music and community engagement. Welcome to Success Tips Global.
Thank you. Thank you, Everett. Sorry.
Okay. I know how I pronounce your name, but I want you to pronounce your name yourself.
Okay.
Your full name.
Okay. My first name is Zvondai, and my last name is Muchenje.
Okay.
So Zvondai Muchenje.
Yes. Because the way it's spelled, maybe I think I've been pronouncing it wrong all this time.
You're not the first
if
one.
I follow the spelling, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, you wouldn't be the first one, and it's okay. Yeah.
Okay, so what do you do right now?
Right now, I'm doing a couple of things actually. I have a full-time job. I work full-time, but at the same time, I also teach music part-time to children mostly. Anybody from 5 years old to 18 years old here in Ottawa. And I do that once a week. Normally I do it from September to April, sometimes up to June, depending on if the kids are not busy during the month of June when they're preparing for their end of year exams here in Canada. Yeah. And also I do have, I teach music, which is an African instrument. I teach an African instrument called the Marimba, which is like, I know some call it the xylophone. I don't know what's the difference, but anyway, most people from Europe call it the xylophone. But I call it marimba, and it's called because marimbas are found almost everywhere in the world, including Asia, South America, North America, Central America, Europe, of course, Africa. So in Africa, we have different types of marimbas. Or anywhere in the world, they have different types of marimbas. And so the one I teach is, we call it the Zimbabwean style marimba. Yeah. Mostly what it is like a 2-octave. For those people that understand music, it's a 2-octave instrument with which mostly it's in the key of C. Okay. But we sometimes have it in a key of G too, because we have an F sharp on it. Yeah. So, and it's mostly played in an ensemble, like say up to 7 marimbas actually. We have the bass, we have the baritone, and we have 2 tenors, and then we have 3 sopranos, of which one of those is a lead soprano. Is a lead marimba, which would normally, play the melody of what everybody else of a song. Yeah. And so I've been teaching that here in Ottawa since 2018. Yeah. And I've taught a lot of kids. Some of them have even, like gone on to become lawyers and engineers and, in their field, of course. But unfortunately, not yet who has branched out and started teaching marimba yet. But you never know, because it's a nice pastime activity to take in a place like North America, because I think I enjoy doing it a lot, because I've gotten to see a lot of places, been to a lot of places. For example, I played marimba in and around Ottawa, which is the capital city of Canada, almost everywhere, including the Parliament building, inside the Parliament building. Wow. On what they call it, the Hill. For those people that understand Ottawa or know Ottawa, inside the hill, the Parliament building. We went and played marimba inside that building. We played marimba for the Governor General, who's the head of state for Canada, who is the representative of now the King of England. We've played marimbas for fundraisers. We've played marimbas in schools, you know, after school programs, camps during the summer, you name it, even weddings.
Yeah.
We played marimbas at weddings. So I enjoy doing that a lot. So those are some of the things that I do. And then, yeah.
Is that also what got you to win the Ontario Arts Foundation Artist Educator Award?
Yes, that's what got me that prize. Yes, because of my work with the children mostly. Yeah, with the children, and I won the Ontario Arts Award for teaching the kids marimba for the year 2019. Yeah,
okay.
It was a nice prize. Comes with a $10,000, you know, reward. You know, that was
not bad.
Yeah, actually, they surprised me when they phoned me. Says, "Oh, is this?" Of course, my name. It's not the easy name to pronounce. So they say, "Is this Zvondai?"
Right.
Said, "Yes, I think this is it." And then it says, "Okay, you've been nominated you've been nominated, and you are the winner of this year's prize." Yeah, I was shocked. And I started giving them all the particulars until towards the end. That's when they told me that it comes with $10,000, and I
wow,
jumped because I didn't expect that. I thought maybe they're going to give me 2,000, you know, something like that. And 10,000. I said, 10,000. I'll take it. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I'd like us to go to your childhood.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about your childhood environment?
Yeah, I was born and raised in Zambia. So I come from Zambia. Lusaka, Zambia, for those of you that know the place. Lusaka, Zambia. And just on the outskirts of Lusaka, it's a place called Mongule, Chief Mongoles area. That's where actually I still have property there, and my parents are from there. Well, I shouldn't say are from there. They died there anyway, because my mother passed away last year. My father passed away 10 years ago, 11 years this year. They also, you know, buried in the same place, area. Yeah, and I went to school there, primary school, secondary school in Lusaka. And then I left Zambia in 1989. And then I went to the Middle East. I lived there for about 2.5 years. And then I left in 1991, and that's when I went to Canada. I came to Canada, and I went to live in a place called Victoria, BC. That's where I happened to meet you too. Yeah, and I've always played music, drums mostly. Drums. I played drums when I was growing up in Zambia. I played drums a lot for all kinds of events, ceremonies, village events. Like I said, I came from a village north of Lusaka. We had all sorts of community events where, you know, music was a very big part of, and I and my brother and sister were the music players who played drums for those events. And also was when I went to high school, I was in a drama club at Bala Secondary School. And in the drama club, we did all kinds of things, like even dancing, playing, and on top of playing, of course, plays. we also danced. Also, my elder brother, was also involved with theater. And so I also played, I was also involved with theater at home. So at school and as well as at home. And at home, actually, we did a lot of what we call popular theater for development. So popular theater for development, what it is really, for those who don't understand it, is that it's a form of an educational program. I'll take it, I'll use the layman's language for to understand. It's a form of a grassroots social event where you teach people how to do, everyday things that might be overlooked by people in a theoretical manner, where you go there, for example, I would describe an event.
Okay.
We'll go and play. We go to a suburb, we call them compounds back home.
Okay.
At the marketplace where everybody gathers. They are coming in there to buy food, to socialize and do all kinds of things, mostly on the weekend, when everybody's not working, and then they're just going about doing their own thing. And so we'd go there and start playing drums, and people would gather around, just like basking, if you've seen basking in North America, and then you play some drums, and then people come, and then you have dancers too. They'll come and start dancing, and then you draw the crowd, and then either through dancing, you bring up issues. If not through dancing, then it would be a skit. You put up a skit, and then you relay the messages through those. Most people were talking about things like cholera, diarrhea, malaria, common things, challenges that day-to-day people face, because, back in the day, I remember those days, the media was not a big thing. Social media never existed. And a lot of people didn't even have TV sets, let alone, not even radios for some of them. And so that was the only way we could reach out to people and bring out issues that may concern them to improve their lives. And so we did that a lot. And then when I left, when I was in the Middle East, when I left Zambia the first time, I went to the Middle East. I lived in Israel. There wasn't none of that stuff happening. I missed playing music a lot. Although once in a while you would bump into somebody and say, "Oh, I have a drum. I know how to play a drum." Of course, I never had a drum back then, And then when I came to Victoria, BC, in Canada, there was a lot of places where I could play drums, for example, because one, there was drum circles, and there was also drum groups in town where you could go. I ended up buying some drums while I lived there. That's how so I ended up we called ourselves Shumba Dumba. Yeah, we played drums for all kinds of things, festivals. We even put up for events, like you remember some of them, African Cafe. Yeah, and and that's how my musical journey continued in North America, And then, of course, briefly, I went back to Zambia in 1999, and then 2003, but then I had gotten married. And then I had the first child was born in Zambia, and then we came over to North America. And then when I was in North America, actually when I was in BC, there was a marimba band. That they played Zimbabwean music very well, and I was impressed with their sophistication, or what do you call it? Their ability to play the music so well, that it was even to my standard anyway. I thought they were better than most Zimbabwean groups that I'd come across. yeah, in Zambia,
Mm.
and of course out here in North America. And the thing is that I wanted to do it because my background is Zimbabwean too, because my parents come from Zimbabwe. I wanted to start playing drums as well. And so what ended up happening was that I borrowed a marimba from one of the band members. Yeah, Michael, that was his name. And so I used Michael's marimba a little bit because the thing is that with the marimbas, they're better played in a group than in Of course, I know I've seen some marimbas, like I said, different marimbas from different parts of the world, and the way they play them is also different. With the Zimbabwean style marimbas, I think at least you should have the second or even the third to put up an interesting piece, you know. But I only had, and if you have 7, it's even better because then they harmonize and it's a really rich music that comes out. So I didn't do much with that marimba, you know. And so when I moved back to, you know, to North America in 2003, I said, no, I would like to start the marimba again. And the worst is that if you've lived in Ottawa, this place is dead. No culture here. Because it's a government place, eh?
Right.
Nothing happens here. If you go downtown, it's as dead as, you know, ghost town. And after 5 o'clock, it's dead.
Wow.
You know, there's nothing happening here. You know, in BC, for example, in Victoria, you know, if you want to play musical instrument by the causeway or in a harbor there, you just go, you know, apply for a busker's license. It was like $10, I remember back in the day. But here, it's so hard that you can't even get a busker's license. I hear it costs something like $300.
Wow.
Just for the busker's pass to perform downtown Ottawa. And so because of that, this place is anti-busker. It's anti-busker. Anyway, so I decided, well, you know what, I'm going to start the marimba group. So I bought one marimba from a good friend from BC, Rick, that was his name. That's his name. He sold me a marimba, you know, and then I started playing. It was one again. But this time what I decided to do was, you know what? I looked at the marimba, I said, come on. I've never back then, because I was born and raised in Zambia. This marimba is Zimbabwean style marimba. Okay. I looked at it. So I had no idea how, you know, to build one or something, anything like that. So what I ended up doing instead is that I looked at it, I said, you know what? I can build the one like this. So I started building them one by one. And now I have tons of them. You know, I wish this Zoom was mobile, that I had on my phone. I would have taken you downstairs to go and see some of my instruments. So I built lots of them. Wow. Got lots of them. Wow. I think I have about 20 marimbas, you know, because like I said, I started teaching kids. I went to one of the churches here and they let me use their basement. Okay. So I built a new set of marimbas and I have it there because marimbas is a lot of work carrying them back and forth. You don't have the right, you know, vehicle to do that. So I went and, you know, built a set of them 7 and put them there. So I have a set of marimbas there, you know, where I keep them, where I teach marimbas to that part of town. It's called New Edinburgh, which is where, you know, the Governor General, who is the head of state for Canada, lives, and also the Prime Minister of Canada also. That same neighborhood, because that's where all the rich people too live, and journalists. And, you know, it's a high-end place. And then I have one for the kids I teach, and I have also a couple of them which I've started working on them, and I just put them in my my garage. So I have like, okay, I mean, if I were to build everything, I'd have about 30 marimbas. I've sold some of them to some of my students, but again, you remember, 5 years ago, my wife was diagnosed with cancer, and she was sick for 2 years or something like that. So I haven't touched any of the marimbas yet. I've been working the past 5 years. Although the year when COVID came, the following year, the same year, in that summer, I helped somebody asked me to build them a marimba. Because that's another thing, is that these instruments are very expensive. So what I decided to do was that, you know what, let me ask him to buy the materials, and then I'll just teach him how to build it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. I saw we were doing that the whole summer, the COVID summer, the first COVID summer. We did that the whole summer, and we managed to build a marimba for his daughter. You know, so that was the only time I worked on the marimbas the past 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah, but you know, other than that, we've been using the ones I already built. You know, and then of course that 4 years ago, that's when I won that award for teaching kids.
Yeah.
When you talked about yeah. And the last fall, we resumed, because after COVID, everybody was so scared. We resumed teaching again. I taught the kids from September to December, and then COVID came back again. Omicron, that new variant that came. So from January, we haven't been doing anything. But that is with the kids. With the adults, we were playing back and forth, because we had a few gigs that we had to play during the spring and also summer. And we also might have another gig coming up next month. So the adult group, we've been playing some practicing. Yeah, so we.
Well, it sounds like you can teach anybody to play. Is that true?
Very much true. Very much true. Like I said, you know, there's 7 marimbas. Not everything is as complicated as playing, for example, the lead. The lead seems to be a little bit challenging, because you have to be good at playing a melody. You know, a melody is like, instead of singing, you sing using your mallets on the marimba. You know, you that is the only challenging thing. Also, even that can be simplified. I've come to realize that I can simplify things even for a lead. You know?
Wow. Okay, when you first came to Canada, what were some of the difficulties you faced?
Just as an individual, yeah, there is some challenges, because the other thing too is that you know, the first few months when you arrive here, maybe about 6 months or something like that, the place becomes, I mean, that was my first experience anyway. When I came to Canada, I didn't know anybody.
Okay.
I didn't know anybody. And so the first 6 months was good, because everything was new and everything was very different from what I was used to back home. And for the most part, I loved it, you know. And then what hit next was the cultural shock, where, you know, you just have this feeling, you know, you don't even know what it is, but you just feel that something is amiss. I don't know what it is. You can't touch it. You just feel it. So I felt a lot of that. And then I later found out that no, it's because I was lonely. You know, you are lonely because there's nobody who understands, for example, even your simple things like your humor. You know, the things that you laugh at, you know, the things that you say, you think you're funny and you want to impress whoever is around you. They don't find that funny.
Right.
You know, and then you're there, says, what the heck is going on here? And because of that, and you know, week after month after, you know, yeah, and then those were some of the challenges. I've been lonely was a big one, you know, and thank God music saved me. You know, that's the reason why I think I did a lot with music because of that. Because, you know, back home, people know you. They always, you know, phone you or come over or you go out for coffee, whatever. Here, nobody knows you. You know, if you don't get out, nobody's going to come to you. So you have to get out. You know, and for me, I found that music was one of those things. Of course, I've seen other people, they would, you know, they go for a walk, or what do you call it, hikes, camping. They're social beings, you know. They join, they volunteer for things and all that kind of thing. That was their coping mechanism to fit in into this society. For me, I think it was music. And it has always been music. You know?
What about your educational experience in Canada?
My education experience, for the most part, I think was good, because that's the good thing about this part of the world is that if you want to go to school, you will go to school, whether you have money or not, you will go to school. You know, I love it, you know, and you can study anything you want, you know, anything you can, you know, you get up one morning, you say you're even in your like first year in university, you say, you know what? I don't think I like what I'm enrolled in right now. I would like to switch and go into another department. You just do it just like that. Man, this place, when it comes to education, they have it together. You know, this place is like heaven, you know, it's like heaven. Anything you want, education-wise, you can get it. Like I said, even if you don't have money, you still have access to loans, school loans, if you want to go that way. Because I did it. If you want to go that way, you will get your education you want. Yeah, you know, that's one thing I like about it.
Okay. What about workplace experiences?
The what?
Workplace.
Workplace. Oh, you know what? Finding a job when you new here can be a challenge. You know, can be a challenge. To me, the thing I thought was I shouldn't be picky. You know, I should not be picky. You know, I remember going to one of the workshops, which you know, it reinforces my belief. You know, where they were telling us about, you know, when you come to a place like this, doesn't necessarily mean that there's not going to be bills, whether you have a job or you don't have a job. There still is going to be bills to pay, you know? So meanwhile, if you're looking for your job, your dream job, so to say, or the job in which you are qualified as from, say, back home, you know, with your experience and your education from back home, it might not be easy for you to get into that profession the first time you arrive here. Why? Because people here do things differently, you know? Because on top of that, they will not hire you. They will not hire you without Canadian experience. I'll tell you, that really sucks big time. You know, they're not going to give you a job. You say, oh, I work in a bank for blah, 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 blah. Yeah, no, but you don't have a Canadian experience. Oh, I was a teacher, blah, blah, blah. Oh, but you don't have an experience. Nurse, the same thing. They are not going to give you the job. They want you to go through some system where they can prove that, you know, you can work in Canada. And then you are serving people back home, the same people that, you know, they are serving here, but they want you to go through their system, you know? And so I was talking about the workshop I went on, or went to earlier on. They talked about finding a survival job while you're looking for a dream job. You know, the good thing is that if you're working on that survival job, you may want to choose that survival job to be a little bit closer to your dream job. Because the good thing about it too is that they always talk about what they call tailoring your resume towards the job you want to do. So what that simply means is that, for example, you worked at Subway, a restaurant. You know, they want you not necessarily talk about how you make sandwiches and all that kind of stuff, but rather the way you, the skills you acquired while you worked at Subway. For you to apply for an accounting job, for example. You know, I'm using accounting because that's what I'm doing right now. You know, and how do you do that? You know, you don't just say, oh, I work at Subway making sandwiches, but no, they want you to talk about how you developed customer service. You know, how do you use customer service when you're doing accounts? You know, oh, you interact with clients on inquiring about their bills and the services that they received for blah 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 blah. You have to BS yourself.
So you have some transferable skills.
Transferable skills from a sandwich technician, they call them sandwich technician, to accounting. You see? So they're not interested in Subway, they're only interested in the skills you acquired while you were doing that job. You know? So that's how you are going to get your dream job eventually. You don't get it at the very beginning without Canadian experience. They make it so hard for you. Yeah.
You've had experience both in the private sector and the public sector, right?
Yeah.
Is there a difference?
There is, yes, there is. There is a difference. Well, I worked when I worked in the private sector, I worked all kinds of places where there was, for example, union. When there's union, man, you don't get any respect, and they really make sure that they squeeze the last juice out of you. They get their money's worth from working for them. You know, for example, I remember if you're late 1 minute, they close the door. You know, and you have to explain yourself. You know, and this is in Canada. You for Canadian, not just because no, I'm from Africa, blah blah. No, none of that. Even the Obroni, they would do the same to them too. Oh yeah, they fired them a lot, big time. So, oh yeah, they fired them. You know, you do that 2 or 3 times. The third time you're gone. You know, so it's not like oh, just because you're a foreigner, they're treating you that way. No, you know. Yeah, I work for Canada Post, although it is a public, but the what do you call it? Outsource their work, but you still work in the building, you know. And when you come in, there's always a security guard, and you have to punch in your number to get it into the warehouse, into the mail room. You know, they will see that you were late a couple of times. They will have a chat with you. You know, and then I worked in the unionized place. Oh yeah, they encourage you to go for breaks. You know, go for breaks and you know, take time off and blah blah. You know, they treat you a little bit like they treat you more like a human being. You know, who can be late for 1 minute. You know, you know. And then of course I worked for the government. The government, they want you to put in your time. Doesn't matter when. You can start work at 9 o'clock. Finish at 5 o'clock. You know, whereas the private sector, if it's 8, it's 8. You know, you cannot say, oh, how come at 9? Unless you had made an arrangement with them, prior arrangement with them that you start at a particular time and end at a particular time. Whereas with the government, they assume you know your job and you don't need to be, you know, supervised like a kid, you know, and they're more flexible. Even, you know, they can even ask to work what they call the compressed week, where you work 8 hours a day, and then the second week you for 2 weeks, and then the second week, that following week, you have a day off. You see, so in a month you have 2 days off because you worked extra time. Yeah. So that's one good thing with the government. You see, if anything, I think that's the place. You, especially for those people that you know, are young and they have a family and everything, that would be the best place to work, I think, to me, according to, you know.
Well, I know so many people want to come to Canada to live. What advice would you give to somebody who is thinking about coming to Canada to live?
You know, coming to Canada, because now I think I'm old enough to see, to look at life and say, oh, this is life. I'll tell you one thing.
Okay.
If you're a young person, less than 30, I would say, yeah, I would encourage you to come and do everything, you know, go through the rat race and because you have the time to, because you don't have a career from back home.
Right.
For the most part anyway. You might have a career, maybe 2 years, you know, you've worked in a bank for 2 years back home. But and then you have the time to do a survival job. You know, you have the time to do the survival job, to build yourself up. You even have the time to go to school, you know, because you can go to school and upgrade yourself and take those internships and summer jobs to get the Canadian experience they are looking for. You see? Oh, and then between 30 and 40, most of the people are trying to establish themselves. They might not be interested in going back to school, although some will be. Yeah? But the majority might not be interested in going to school. And also, they're trying to build a family. They have kids, you know, they have daycare to pay and all that kind of thing. They have no time for survival jobs. They want the real deal, you know, straight to their career. So it becomes tricky. That's when people have to, you know, juggle 2 jobs and all that kind of stuff in order for them to just get what they want. For those who are above 40, I think it's a big gamble. To me, anyway. You know, it's a big gamble. I'm over 50. I wouldn't say that it is going to be easy for you, because you don't, definitely over 40, you're not interested in school anymore. Even, for example, nurses, you're not, because they make it difficult for you to get a job here because they really want. Nurses are the people I've seen that they have suffered a lot, who are trained somewhere else. If you're trained in England, they of course, they send from England. Yeah, they're not going to make it easy. I've seen, though, for doctors trained in South Africa, there's, I think in Alberta, you can practice without going through, they do. South Africa is the only African country I've seen so far. I don't know, maybe there may be other places, you know, but I know for sure South Africa, because it's closer to Zambia. We know each other. We are friends that have done it. I don't know, maybe in West Africa. Yeah, I don't know, maybe in West Africa or North Africa, they have also, they have it easy. But Kenya, no, it's not. Kenya, I've seen it in UK, it's easy. But I haven't seen it in Canada, you know. And yeah, so to me, it becomes a little bit tricky as you grow older. You know, if you want to come, why not? It's your life. You want to do something about your situation. But you know, and of course, for those that are coming to, who are in their 40s, are trying to come here, because sometimes if you are 40 and you are enough money to come to North America, it means that you're doing very well back home. That's another thing. My advice to those people is that do not sell everything to come over here when you're in your 40s, because that's a stupid move. You know, don't say, oh, I'm going to sell this so that I can get money for the visa. Keep your property. If you have property, keep it there, because everybody thinks that, well, I'm going to go to Canada and never go back home. I want to go back to Zambia, you know, and thank God I left when I was young. I still have my property in Zambia. I'm very happy about that, you know, and I would strongly advise whoever wants to move out here, do not sell your property. That's suicide. That's suicide, you know, because this place, everybody's busy. What are you busy about? Oh, why are you busy? Nobody even knows why they are busy. You know, busy doing what? Watching shows on TV, you know? And so because of that, nobody's going to visit you, especially when your kids have gone to school, they've started doing their own thing. You're going to be lonely. Nobody's going to be talking to you, you know? And some people now, they don't even talk to you. They text you, you know? They text you, you know?
Okay, so you see a big difference between the social life in Canada and that in parts of Africa?
A lot, a lot, you know, because here, you know, everybody, like I said, they're busy. If you show up at somebody's house without phoning them, they might not be happy.
Right.
You know, it's not that they don't have that, you know, they don't like it. It's either because, of course, like I was telling you, they have 2-3 jobs, you know, and so the free time they want to rest, not to be entertaining other people to come to their house. That is one reason, you know. And the other thing too is that it's just we have adopted the North American way of doing things, where we don't want people to visit us. You know, you see, that's not an African way of doing things. You know, but back home, people show up. Sometimes it's even too much.
Right.
They'll show up anytime. You know, although we might not like it, but trust me, we were designed that way by God to be a social being. You know, we were designed to be a social being. It's only now that I'm out here and realizing how much lonely it is that I'm saying, we were not after in Africa. That's exactly the feeling you're going to have when you migrate here, when you're in your 40s and you sell all your property and you hit 50. But because that's another funny thing. When you hit 50, and there's these young kids who are coming in, they know things better than you do, because you went to school when? A century ago?
Right.
You know, the way they do things in schools right now, they have computers, they just go like that. But whereas with you, you have to go look, where is
Right.
you know, you're there. But these kids go there, blah, blah, blah. Before you know it, they've done everything. You know, they have spreadsheets and all these apps and everything. They know how to do these things far much better than you do. And why? Which company is going to go after you, who is a dinosaur, when they can get a kid that can do things like in the blink of an eye? You see? And then you realize that, you know, and then when you're in your 40s, when you're looking for jobs, everybody your age will be talking about retiring.
Right.
You see? Everybody will be talking about retiring. Yeah, I think I'll take early retirement. I don't think I can work till 60. You see, that's the talk. You're not going to talk with the kid that doesn't even think retirement is something they should be talking about. You know, the people in your age, they're all going to be, because what happens? Now it starts working on you. It says, what am I doing here? You know, everybody, and by then that's when you'll be getting a decent job where you can say, oh, I can stay here because now I'm getting the hang of what is going on. And then everybody else around you, your age, is thinking about retiring. You know, and what does that do to you? Passion goes, morale goes, your energy doesn't exist anymore at that age. You know, you just want to go now. You just want, you know, you just want to leave. And then when you think about, okay, so when I leave, where do I go? And then you start thinking to yourself, well, you look into, you know, your bills. They're up there, you know, and then you're thinking, I need this job. You know, you're getting the job, you're getting the pressure from the kids, how they work so efficiently. You're working, thinking about your bills, and then you're thinking to yourself, I say, and then you have the only thing that will make sense at that point is you're going to realize that Africa was better after all. And then the thing is that if you had sold all your property back home, there's nothing to go back to. And trust me, I have made trips back home. People there have money. People there have money. You know, of course, they might have accumulated it through the time, like you did when you were there, but you sold your stuff. There's no way you're going to start at 55 to try and catch up to anything. You know, so that's why I discourage people who are in their 40s that when you can go anywhere and migrate anywhere you want, but if you have something going back home, don't sell it. Don't sell it, because you're not going to like it there. You know, when the honeymoon is over, like they always say, when the honeymoon is over, you know, 10 years down the road, you're going to see, after all those glittery things, when we used to see them when we were back home, it's not worth it. I'm going back, you know, because if you at 5 years old, trust me, at 5 years into the new place in your 40s, you're going to realize that this place is not all that. And smart people who didn't sell their property, they are going to start renovating or upgrading their property back home with that little survivor job money they are getting. Because then they know that 5 years from now, they're going to go back and live like, you know, like just like they never left. Yeah. So you see, that's how my experience of being in this part of the world 30 years, I'll tell you that's what I think about migrating.
Okay. If you look at your life, what would you say is the best decision you've taken?
Regarding my migrating to,
yeah, or your life as a whole, what are some of the key decisions you've taken that have benefited you?
Being true to myself, I think. Being true to myself, because like the stuff I'm just telling you, this is exactly how I live my life. Okay. You know, I left Africa when I was in my 20s. Like I say, I'm in my 50s now. Yeah. 30 years. You know, and I've never, okay, there was some time I never went back for 10 years. But when I went back after that 10 years, I went and re-established myself. You know, I bought a farm. I built actually I started with building my mother a house. Then when I left BBC, I went and built my mother a house. Okay. And then after that, I built myself a house. Okay. And then while I was there, I got married. And then I worked another couple of years. I finished that house and put it on rent. And then a year before we came out here, I bought a farm. Okay. You see? I bought a farm, and again, I didn't do anything to it because, again, I was trying to survive here. I was trying to survive here. But then 5 years after I was here, I started that because this stretch has been now, what, 15 years, 17 years? No, 19 years. This stretch. Okay. 19 years, because, well, almost, yeah, I came in 2003, and this is 2022.
Mm-hmm.
For the past 19 years, 5 years into that 19 years, I started developing my farm.
Okay.
You know, slowly but surely, I could find people to rent it. Sometimes the whole year, nobody's renting it. But now people are coming like this. I want to rent your farm. I want to rent your farm. I want to rent this whole thing. I want to rent that. You know, now it's flourishing. You know, I think this is my best decision. You know, this is my best decision. I'm not just talking the talk.
Right.
Yeah. You know, I'm happy with that very much.
Okay, now I have a difficult question for you.
Okay.
This is about some people complain that Canada has some racism.
Yeah.
Some people don't see any racism in Canada.
Yeah.
So what is your take on that? Is there any racism in Canada?
Yes, of course there is racism in Canada. It's everywhere. You know? But you know, my take on that though is that, okay, we gotta be serious here.
Okay.
Don't we have what we call racism here happening in Zambia too? It's all over the place. You know, you cannot say that, oh, in Canada there is racism. Yes, there is racism here. There is racism in Zambia too. You know, what we call racism here exists in Zambia. If not worse. Yeah. Yeah. So
do you just accept it, or how do you cope with that? Yeah.
My take on that is that if you go look for racism, you're going to find it. And what you do with it is what, you know, makes you. I can sit here and complain about how these people are so racist and blah, 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 blah. But what are you doing with your life? You know, racists will always be there. You know, they will always be there, but are the racists going to stop you? Yes, they might stop you, but they're not going to come and say, come on, stay here. No. No matter what the racists do, you still have to thrive. You know? Okay. A white person with my qualification will be the biggest boss around. But I'm not going to sit here and don't go to work because I should be there too. I'll do whatever I am doing and get the little I am doing and make something out of it. You know? Like they were saying, I was listening to some YouTube talking about money. He said that it's not the money you get that makes you a millionaire, but it's the way you use your money you get that makes you a millionaire. You see? You know? You can get all the money, you know, that white person that has the same qualification as you, even less than what you have, is your boss and getting so much money. It's what they use with their money. You who has all these qualifications more than your boss, but you have so little money, is what you do with your money. You know, what you do with your money, that's what counts. How you spend your money, your attitude towards your money. That's what counts. Because really, you know, whether we like it or not, it's all about money, how we use our money. You know, that's why you get jobs. That's why we do all these things we do. We want to get money, you know. But when you get that money, what do you do with it? You know. So to me, racism is there. And the thing is that if you want to go and look for it too, you'll find plenty. It's all over, man. It's like, you'll be overwhelmed. You know? Yeah, racism is there. But again, what we call racism here exists back home. You know? And I'm not going to be crying about that. You know? And accuse innocent people for nothing. You know? Come on, this is the same stuff we do back home. You know? Yeah. And there we don't cry racism. Yeah.
Okay. Is there any question I didn't ask you, but that you want to speak on?
Wow. Yeah. No, you know what? Really, I didn't know the format of this interview,
Right.
and so really, I didn't even think about what was going to be discussed. So whatever you were asking, I was just driving in through it and having fun talking about it. You know.
Okay.
And yeah.
Okay, so then I think you've done a very good job of sharing something about your life with us. And I think it's going to be very useful to our viewers. So thank you so very much. And I'm really happy to reconnect with you.
No problem. No problem. I had fun.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.